Hello again, and thank you for joining us for a moment in the Word. It's just a moment of time where we spend in the Scriptures and we share some things that are on our heart. And I'm so glad that you made a decision to be with us. I'm going to be reading from the book of Psalm chapter 37 and verse 25. In that passage of Scripture, David is writing and he said, "I was once young, but now I am old. But I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread." It was David's testimony of the faithfulness of God. In our time together for the next few moments, I would just like to share a personal story about the faithfulness of God. There was a point in time in ministry as Carrie and I were being faithful unto God, and we were walking by faith and trusting the Lord to meet our needs, that things got very difficult financially. And I remember in particular on this one occasion that I had really come to a place where I needed God to provide. I needed the Lord to do a miracle. And it was there that I went to the church, and I went to the front of the church. I was there by myself, and I was going to seek the face of the Lord. That I got down on my face there in the altar area, and I just began to pray and call upon the Lord. And I reminded God of His faithfulness. I reminded the Lord of what the Scripture declares and how Carrie and I had put our trust in Him. As I got up from that time of prayer and I wiped the tears from my eyes, I got in my truck and I went home. And when I got home, I went to get the mail out of the mailbox. And amongst the mail that had come, there was an envelope from some friends of ours, some dear friends, that they had put a letter and a check in that envelope. And they said that in one of their days of praying for us, that God had laid us upon their heart. They wanted us to know that they loved us and that they were proud of us and that they hoped what they had sent would be a blessing. I want you to know about the faithfulness of God and how I stand amazed at how God stands true to His Word. As David testified, "I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging for bread." I can stand before you today and I have that same testimony. Time would not allow me in these few moments in the Word today to share all of the things that God has done for us. But I want you to understand this, to stand in awe of how God works in our lives and how He provides when we are faithful unto Him. We've got to stop and rewind that story. You see, I had gone to the church. I had laid on my face before the Lord, and I had prayed to the point of weeping. I got up and dried my eyes, went home to the mailbox, and in the mailbox was a check and a letter from some friends. You say, "Well, wait a minute, we already covered that." But let that sink in for just a moment. They had mailed a check that had a letter in it. That meant that God had to lay it on their heart weeks, days before, so that that check would arrive at the very time that I called upon the Lord. Now, I got to be honest, it doesn't always work that quick. I have prayed some prayers and then God has answered, but maybe not in the same day. But it just relates to the fact that God is faithful. And I want to encourage you. I may not know what you're going through, but God does. And as you call upon the Lord, I want you to have confidence and faith and assurance that the God that you're praying to, He will answer your prayers. He will minister and He will move. Be encouraged today. Just as God did for me, He can do for you. And as Abraham declared in Genesis chapter 22, He is still Jehovah Jireh. He is the Lord that provides. Whatever you're in need of today, God is able to do it. Thank you again for joining us for a moment in the Word. We love you. I pray you have a great day. God bless.